teaching English abroad. It's something so many people dream about,
Yeah.
Pack your bags, hop on a plane, get paid to share the English language.
Yeah.
And that's what we're diving into today. We found this webpage from Allison. It's an online learning platform. And get this, they offer a free TEFL course.
TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language, just in case.
Yep.
For anyone who's new to all this.
Right, of course.
And it's a fascinating field. Did you know that there are over 1.75 billion English speakers globally?
Seriously.
Yeah. That's like almost a quarter of the entire planet.
That's a lot of potential students.
It is.
No wonder this Allison course, caught my eye. Although their website is massive. I mean, they've got courses on everything from project management to graphic design. Is that a good sign? Or is it, I don't know. What do you think?
That's actually a really good point to bring up. Think about it this way. To be able to offer such a diverse range of courses, Allison must have a pretty impressive infrastructure, right? And a really big network of educators.
Okay.
And that credibility, that kind of translates really well when you look at their TEFL program. They're not just dipping their toes into the water with this.
Okay, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better because let's be real. This whole teaching English on a tropical island fantasy, it hinges on actually being qualified to do it.
Right.
And speaking of qualifications, they mentioned this CPD accreditation for their TEFL certificate. What's the deal with that? Is that like a gold star or something?
It's better than a gold star.
Ooh, okay.
So CPD stands for Continuing Professional Development. And essentially what it means is that this course, it meets a certain recognized standard for professional learning. So it's like a signal to employers that you've, invested in a certain quality of training that's aligned with the industry standards. Think of it like this. If you were, say, looking to hire a chef, wouldn't you be more impressed by someone who had like a culinary degree from a respected institution than someone who just, dabbled in cooking at home?
Oh, okay. That's a good analogy. That makes sense. Yeah. It definitely makes me feel better about investing my time in a course, even if it is free, if it holds that kind of weight behind it.
Yeah.
So let's say I sign up for this whole Allison TEFL journey, right? What am I actually going to be learning?
Yeah.
Because they've got, the usual suspects covered, like lesson planning, different teaching methodologies. They even talk about incorporating things like games and technology.
Right.
Although, confession time technology in the classroom. I'm immediately picturing myself back in high school trying to get the overhead projector to work.
Oh, yeah.
Not exactly inspiring.
That's hilarious, though. But you've actually hit on a really crucial point. Teaching English as a foreign language, it's not just about knowing all the grammar rules. It's about knowing how to teach. Yeah. And part of that is being adaptable to different learners and different teaching environments. Some students might thrive with technology, but others might need a more hands-on, kinesthetic approach.
Yeah.
And that's where really understanding these various teaching methodologies comes in. And it looks like that's something that Allison actually touches on.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's almost like being part teacher, part entertainer, part cultural ambassador.
Yeah.
All rolled into one.
It is.
Speaking of which, I was kind of surprised to see that the Allison website, it really emphasizes skills beyond just language, like to get into classroom management, time management, even keeping your students motivated. Is that standard for TEFL courses?
Absolutely, yeah. Imagine yourself, you're standing in front of a classroom full of students who are really eager to learn, but they're also a bit nervous. Maybe a little bit homesick, being in a completely new cultural setting. You're not just teaching grammar there. You're creating this positive and engaging learning environment.
Right.
And that requires a whole other skill set.
It's like being a camp counselor, but with more verbs and adjectives.
Exactly.
So not exactly a walk in the park then. Not a walk in the park, no.
Yeah.
But definitely an adventure, like you were saying.
Okay, so we figured out that teaching English abroad, it's more than just knowing the difference between your and your.
Right.
But can we talk job opportunities for a sec?
Yeah, of course. Because the Allison website, they mentioned people using TEFL for travel, like extra income, even total career changes.
It can be, yeah.
But that almost sounds too good to be true. Is it really that easy to find a TEFL job?
Well, it's rarely ever easy. But the demand for qualified English teachers, it's definitely there. Think about it. English is the language of international business, right?
Yeah.
Tourism, even, the internet, to a large extent.
Yeah.
So that creates a global need for people who can actually teach it well.
So it's not just like teaching Shakespeare in a stuffy classroom. We're talking real-world, practical English skill.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so interesting, right? Like you could find yourself teaching business English to professionals,
Yeah.
maybe in some really booming economy,
Oh, yeah.
or working with like young learning in bilingual schools.
Well,
You could even be, teaching English online from a cozy cafe in Prague.
okay, see, now you're just trying to make me jealous. But seriously, like, what are the chances of someone actually landing one of these awesome TFL gigs?
It is competitive. I'm not going to lie. It
Yeah.
is a competitive field, but that's where that CPD accreditation we were talking about earlier, that really comes in handy
Oh,
because it shows potential employers that you're serious about this, right?
right.
That you're qualified.
Yeah.
And experience helps too, even if it's just online tutoring or volunteering in your local community.
So you kind of build up a TEFL resume just like any other career.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But where do you even begin to look for these TEFL jobs?
Oh, there are so many online resources now. Oh yeah, websites like TEFL.com, Gooverseas, even Dave's ESL Cafe. That's a classic one.
Okay.
Yeah, they're great places to start. They have job boards, they have country-specific information. They even have these forums where you can actually connect with other teachers
cool.
and kind of get the inside scoop.
So it's like a whole underground network of like globe-trotting grammar enthusiasts.
It is.
I love it. Okay, so let's say, you land that dream TFL job.
Yeah.
Maybe even on that tropical island we were talking about earlier.
Right.
What are the salaries like? Can you actually make a living doing this?
The million-dollar question.
Right.
And the answer, like most things in life, is it depends.
Okay.
Salaries, they vary so widely based on, the country, your experience level, the type of institution you're working for.
So there's no like set hourly rate for English grammar.
I wish.
Right.
No. I mean, for instance, in Japan and South Korea, where the demand for English teachers is super high and the cost of living is, it's relatively manageable.
Right.
You can potentially earn a really comfortable salary, like even save some money. But, in other parts of the world, like certain countries in Southeast Asia or South America, the pay might be lower.
Okay.
And you might have to supplement your income with private tutoring or some online teaching on the side.
Okay, so it's really crucial to do your homework, like research the cost of living in these places, manage expectations.
Absolutely.
Don't show up in Paris expecting a Parisian lifestyle on a, TEFL teacher's salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Paris on a baguette budget is not ideal. Not really the dream, is it?
No, not really.
But, okay, let's talk about the non-monetary rewards, right? Like this webpage from Allison, it keeps mentioning how learners have benefited. What does that even mean in the context of TEFL? Is it just, the language skills, or is there more to it?
Oh, it's so much more than that. Imagine, empowering someone to chase their dream job, But it's overseas, so they need English for that.
Right.
Or helping them connect with family members in a different country. Or even just, navigate a new culture with a bit more confidence. That's the real impact of, teaching English as a foreign language.
Wow. When you put it like that, it's almost like you're giving people a passport to a whole new world.
It is, yeah.
Not bad for a day's work.
Not bad at all.
But I imagine, though, that the impact you have, the connections you build, it probably varies depending on where in the world you're actually teaching, right?
Right, absolutely. Every country has its own thing, Every city, even every classroom has its own unique energy. Teaching English in a huge bustling metropolis like Tokyo,
Right.
that's going to be a completely different experience than, say, working with students in a rural village in Thailand.
Yeah. That's what I kind of love about this whole TEFL thing, right? There's no one-size-fits-all experience. There's so many different paths you can take.
Exactly.
But okay, let's circle back to Allison for a sec, because their website, I mean, it's very slick, very persuasive.
Yeah.
But they're obviously, trying to sell their course.
Of course.
Yeah. So for anyone listening, what questions should they be asking beyond, what's written on this perfectly polished webpage?
You are so right to be discerning. And while Allison is a great starting point, it's always smart to just, do a little bit of your own research as well. Look for those reviews from other learners. Maybe even reach out to people who have actually taught English abroad.
Oh,
They can give you the unfiltered truth about what it's really like.
Right, get that inside scoop.
Exactly.
So, okay, for anyone listening who's maybe on the fence about this whole teaching English abroad thing, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give them?
Honestly, Don't underestimate the power of cultural immersion. Like,
Mm.
learning a language, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But experiencing the culture firsthand, navigating daily life in a totally new environment,
Right.
that's where the real magic happens. It's challenging,
Yeah.
for sure, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
It's like they say travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And in this case, you're getting paid to do it.
Exactly. Although I wouldn't go into it just for the money, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The most successful TEFL teachers, they're the ones who are genuinely passionate about, language and culture and connecting with people from all over, all walks of life.
Yeah. It's about embracing the adventure,
Yeah.
the unknown, those like lost in translation moments that really make you appreciate the beauty of human connection.
100%.
Well, this has been this deep dive. It's been eye-opening. We explored the ins and outs of TEFL, from the the nitty-gritty details of lesson planning to the bigger picture stuff like the impact of like bridging cultures through language. We talked about job opportunities, salaries, and like that importance of finding that TEFL experience that truly speaks to your own goals and your own interest.
Yeah. And I think, we've only just scratched the surface,
Right.
but hopefully this is giving you like a little taste of what's out there, a little inspiration to go explore the world of teaching English abroad.
Yeah. So here's my final thought for everyone listening. If you could pack your bags and teach English anywhere in the world, where would you go? What adventures are calling your name? Let that question simmer for a bit. And hey, who knows? Maybe your own TEFL journey. It starts today.